From headless bugs that keep on moving to animals that can magically regrow their body parts, this story dives into the wild and wonderful ways some creatures beat the odds to survive. Imagine tiny critters, like tardigrades, that can withstand almost anything, even the vacuum of space. But there's a twist. Some animals have problems because of their big horns or antlers. Ram and deer might get stuck because of them, and sloths have a hard time walking on the ground with their long claws. These stories show us how different animals have special tricks to live longer and deal with problems their bodies might cause. It's a look into how wild and weird nature can be, with animals doing things that seem like they're from a superhero movie. Have you ever learned about how a cockroach can keep moving around for a whole week, even after losing its head? That's exactly as strange as it sounds. These tiny insects can continue their daily activities without their heads, as if they're just enjoying a casual stroll in the park. But let's not forget about the salamanders, the true champions of making a comeback. They have the incredible ability to grow back parts of their bodies, ranging from their tails all the way to something as vital as their hearts. Just when you thought that was impressive, let me introduce you to the tardigrades, the ultimate survivors of the animal world. These microscopic warriors can endure almost any challenge they face. So get ready as we dive into a list of 12 animals that have faced danger head-on and declared, "Not today, friend." It's now our turn to dive into a different chapter of the animal kingdom, one where living on the edge is part of daily life due to distinct characteristics. Imagine a scenario where the very traits that give you strength also expose you to danger. This paradox is the day-to-day reality for various animals, such as ram, deer, and sloths. These creatures often find themselves in difficult predicaments because of their physical features. Let's talk about the ram first. These animals boast large, imposing horns that are a source of pride, but also a significant challenge. There are occasions when their horns become more of a hindrance than a help, such as when they get stuck in trees or entangled in fences. This situation can be as bothersome as experiencing an exceptionally bad hair day. Furthermore, during the mating season, rams engage in intense battles for dominance. These confrontations can resemble a chaotic heavy metal concert where the consequences can be severe, ranging from intense headaches to situations that might endanger their lives. Now, let's turn our attention to deer, creatures that grace the forests with their majestic antlers, so striking they can outshine any competitor in a woodland beauty contest. However, the scene shifts dramatically when mating season kicks in. Suddenly, these beautiful antlers become weapons in a contest of strength and dominance. Imagine having swords attached to your head, ready for a duel, but with no way to put them away safely. When two male deer lock horns, it often leads to a deadlock, a situation neither of them desires, but can tragically end in loss for both. This dance between beauty and combat serves as a powerful reminder of how nature's gifts can also be its curses, illustrating the delicate balance between the charm and dangers these creatures face due to their impressive features. Shifting focus to sloths, these animals are renowned for their impressively long claws, which are perfect for their life among the treetops. These claws allow them to hang and move with ease high above the ground, fitting seamlessly into their leisurely lifestyle in the canopy. But the moment sloths come down to earth, the picture changes drastically. Observing them try to navigate the ground is like watching someone clumsily walk with swim fins on a treadmill. It's both awkward and out of place. Their natural slowness only exaggerates the situation, making every fall from a branch appear as a prolonged drama. This scene could easily belong in a slow-motion clip from an action movie, if only it had a victorious conclusion. This peculiar aspect of sloths' lives illustrates the striking contrast between their adeptness in their natural arboreal habitat and their vulnerability on the ground, highlighting the unique challenges faced by these seemingly serene creatures. Now, let's shine a spotlight on the moose, an animal that embodies the concept of bearing a heavy load with dignity. Picture carrying around something as large and weighty as a chandelier on your head every single day. That's the reality for a moose, navigating the forest with a set of antlers so grand it's akin to moving through a crowded room without bumping into furniture or hitting the doorframe. These majestic creatures experience lives brimming with excitement and hurdles, where their most distinguished features also pose considerable challenges. Their existence is a tapestry of high-stakes drama and obstacles, turning each day into a thrilling episode of a wildlife adventure series. The plot thickens as we introduce more animals into the narrative. Consider the elk, with its towering antlers that command respect and authority in the animal kingdom for a season. Yet, when mating season is over, they shed their antlers. It's as if they've been stripped of their extraordinary abilities. All of a sudden, they're more vulnerable to dangers, much like superheroes who've misplaced their capes and must face the world's perils with newfound fragility. Next, let's talk about giraffes, the skyscrapers of the animal world, not only for their long necks, but for their horns as well. Their towering stature isn't just for reaching the topmost leaves. It plays a crucial role in their confrontations for supremacy. These contests are not just any fight. They're reminiscent of knights jousting in a medieval tournament, though it's more of a heavyweight boxing match. These battles come with the risk of serious injuries, threatening not just their status, but their very survival. This aspect of their lives adds a layer of gravity to their graceful appearance, illustrating the intense competition and dangers lurking within their seemingly peaceful existence. Now the heavyweights, the rhinoceros, a creature whose horn sits grandly on its head, resembling a king's crown. Though this horn gives it a regal appearance, life for the rhino isn't just about grandeur or admiration. Consider the times when this crown becomes more of a burden than a blessing, finding itself stuck in the mud or entangled in branches. It's like the rhino is endowed with a superpower that it can't turn off, making even the most mundane activities unexpectedly difficult. Transitioning to the mountain goat. Imagine these animals as the daredevils of the animal kingdom, executing moves reminiscent of parkour on the sheer cliffs of mountains. Their sharp horns aren't just for show. They symbolize the spirit of adventure that drives them. Yet this pursuit of adventure is fraught with danger. A misjudgment in their footing can quickly turn their nimble ascent into a life-threatening ordeal, where each jump is laden with the possibility of turning into a dramatic saga. The bighorn sheep cannot be ignored, renowned for their epic battles that seem to be ripped from the pages of mythology. These clashes, though visually spectacular, often result in consequences that go beyond mere pride, leaving the combatants with physical reminders of their encounters. This aspect of their lives, where the quest for companionship involves withstanding blows that could render one unconscious, underscores the harsh realities of their existence. Let's reflect on the antelope, whose horns are as versatile as a Swiss Army knife, designed by nature itself. These horns are essential for warding off predators, yet their effectiveness can sometimes backfire. Picture having a defense mechanism so sharp that you have to be careful not to harm yourself. It presents a peculiar challenge when your primary means of defense requires a word of caution, highlighting the paradox of being equipped with something that necessitates as much care in its use as in its defense against others. And you won't believe the truly amazing story of the dancing squid. It's something that will catch your eye and leave you amazed. Imagine a creature that continues to grab your attention and brings joy even after it's passed away. When you add a little soy sauce to it, the squid's body responds in a way that makes it move as if it were swimming in the ocean, creating an incredible show. Now, this isn't about the squid coming back to life. It's more about giving a final, captivating performance that makes sure it stays in the spotlight even at the very end. Okay, now let's shift our focus to the cockroaches. These tough little survivors that seem to be able to withstand just about anything. Have you ever heard that cockroaches could even survive a nuclear blast? Well, it turns out they're incredibly hardy. They don't use lungs to breathe like we do. Instead, they have tiny tubes all over their bodies to get air. Their heads serve the purpose of eating and sensing the world around them with their eyes and feelers. Interestingly, if they end up losing their heads, they're not exactly doomed. They can still wander around headless until they eventually pass away from starvation, since they need their mouths to eat. It's a strange but true fact, although certainly not a diet plan anyone should consider trying. Now let's delve into a story that could easily be part of a spooky tale about chickens. Envision a chicken, which we'll call Mike, who incredibly lived for 18 months without its head. It's as if he's a survivor of a particularly bad haircut. Mike was able to stay alive because the axe that was meant to end his life missed the vital jugular vein, and a blood clot stopped him from bleeding out. Chickens have this backup system that allowed Mike to continue wandering around, completely unaware of his unusual predicament. It's as though Mike lived by the principle of no brain, no issue, making the most of his life despite his extraordinary situation. Now let's shift our focus to the fascinating world of bees for a moment. Bees are known for their incredible abilities, but there's one particular feature that might surprise you. Have you ever experienced a bee sting and wondered what happens to the bee afterward? What's truly interesting is that even after a bee has died, its sting can still cause discomfort. This is due to a unique part of their stinger design, which allows the stinger to continue pumping venom into the skin even after the bee's death. Therefore, if you spot a bee that isn't moving, it's wise to maintain your distance to avoid any unwelcome surprises. Next, we're going to take a closer look at axolotls, the salamanders that seem to have wandered out of a fairy tale, always seen with what looks like a smile on their faces. Life in their natural habitat is harsh, resembling a never-ending struggle for survival among salamanders. Yet axolotls possess an extraordinary talent that distinguishes them from others: the ability to regenerate lost parts of their bodies. It doesn't matter if it's a limb, part of their brain, their heart, or lungs. These remarkable creatures can grow these parts back. This incredible regeneration ability practically makes them invulnerable to injury, giving them what seems like countless opportunities to begin anew. This unique trait certainly makes them a fascinating subject of study and admiration in the animal world, as they embody resilience and the power of recovery in a way few other creatures do. You're looking at a photo of a camel, but there's something very unusual about it. This camel doesn't have a head. It's standing in the middle of a place where there are plants and green stuff growing, not a desert like you might expect. It makes you wonder, how did this happen? Is this some kind of strange birth thing, or did nature just decide to do something really wild? Seeing something like this really makes you think. It's like a big question mark sitting there among the greenery. How many other weird and wonderful things are out there that we just don't know about yet? This camel, without its head, just chilling with the plants, is a reminder that the world is full of surprises. Sometimes nature just does its own thing, and all we can do is look on in wonder. Their ability to bounce back from almost any injury gives them a special place in the natural world, almost like having a magical touch that allows them to overcome obstacles that would be insurmountable for most other animals. Whether it's recovering from a predator's attack or healing from an environmental hazard, axolotls have this miraculous capacity to regenerate, and thus, they continue to thrive and fascinate those who study them or simply admire their resilience and unique charm. This regenerative power not only highlights their biological uniqueness, but also offers a glimpse into the potential for scientific research in areas such as medicine and regenerative therapies, making axolotls a beacon of hope and a source of endless curiosity and wonder. Imagine stepping into a magical world where during the chilliest time of year, frogs undergo a miraculous transformation, turning into something akin to real-life frozen treats. This isn't just a story for children. It's the true life of the wood frog. These tiny creatures take the idea of chilling out to an extreme level. They allow nearly two-thirds of their bodies to freeze completely solid. If you happen to pick one up, you might think you're holding a frog-shaped icicle. Their hearts come to a halt, no blood moves through their bodies, and they appear totally lifeless. Yet this situation is more like pressing the pause button on your favorite show. Miraculously, with the arrival of warmer weather, they thaw out and hop back to life, as if by magic. Well, it's not magic, but the marvels of science that makes this possible. It's as though they have the most extraordinary party trick to share. Now, let's talk about animals that are a tad more likely to snap at you. Snakes. You might believe that once a snake has passed away, it's no longer a threat. However, this is far from the truth. Dead snakes can still make a sudden move towards you, thanks to their lingering reflexes. This is especially true for carnivorous snakes, such as cobras and rattlesnakes. They can strike faster than you can blink in astonishment. The nerve cells within these snakes keep the biting reflex alive for hours after death. So if you ever stumble upon a snake that seems dead, it's probably best to keep your distance rather than trying to touch it. Moving on to the complex and utterly fascinating romantic escapades of a praying mantis, which are more dramatic than many TV dramas. In certain situations, female praying mantises will decapitate their mates, either as a strange form of courtship or simply because they're not feeling affectionate. Incredibly, even decapitated, the male mantises can carry on with the courtship process. This demonstrates an astounding level of dedication, or maybe it's just an odd quirk of evolution. You can decide how you see it. Next, we'll look at the red-eared slider turtles, who can be considered the ultimate champions of relaxation among animals. These turtles seem to be virtually immune to heart disease. Their hearts possess the incredible capacity to beat outside their bodies for up to 5 days, even in the absence of oxygen. When inside their bodies, their heartbeats slow to a rate that would make any meditation guru envious. This amazing ability has the potential to be groundbreaking in the field of human heart transplants, showing us how nature often holds the most incredible answers to the challenges we face in life. Imagine we begin with a wasp, but not just any ordinary wasp. Picture a wasp that's missing its head. Now you may be thinking that this sounds like something out of a horror film, doesn't it? However, in the insect world, this scenario is fairly normal. These insects are designed with a unique feature. Their nervous system isn't located in one central spot. Instead, they have several small, brain-like structures, known as ganglia, spread out all over their body. This fascinating design allows a wasp to lose its head, and yet keep buzzing around as if it's just another day. This isn't some kind of magical illusion or trick to show off. It's simply the way they are naturally structured. The critical components that ensure its survival aren't located in its head, but are distributed throughout its body. So you might wonder, what becomes of the head? It's possible the wasp might be keeping them as some form of bizarre collection, or perhaps it's nature's humorous way of suggesting we shouldn't get too worked up over things, in a metaphorical sense. Shifting our focus to the jellyfish, those delicate, pulsating beings that inhabit the sea and seem to challenge the very idea of death. It's hard to believe, but they are nearly immortal. Jellyfish are predominantly water, making up 75% of their composition. Yet they have a remarkable trick up their sleeve. Despite lacking arms or sleeves to conceal anything, they have an extraordinary capacity to reverse their age and return to their youthful state whenever they face significant challenges, essentially resetting their lives. Imagine if, whenever you're in a tough situation, like forgetting to pay your bills, you could simply turn back time and become a child again. This capability places jellyfish in a position of envy among other animals, as they elegantly avoid the aging process that seems inevitable for the rest of us. Let's dive into the world of one of the most fascinating creatures on Earth, the tardigrade, also known as the water bear. Think of it as the superhero of the tiny world, a real-life micro-marvel. These tiny beings are the very definition of toughness. Living in extremely harsh conditions, for them, it's a walk in the park. Surviving killer levels of radiation and the kind of dehydration that would spell doom for other creatures. Yes, they manage that as well. And then there's their ability to venture into outer space, only to come back as if they've been out for a gentle stroll rather than braving the cosmic wilderness. Tardigrades are so incredibly durable and strong that they make even the toughest characters in action movies seem weak and vulnerable by comparison. Imagine if surviving the harshest conditions were an Olympic sport. In this scenario, tardigrades wouldn't just win the gold medal, they'd be in a league of their own. There wouldn't even be a contest, as all the other participants would likely give up before even trying, especially when faced with the challenge of surviving the emptiness of space. Tardigrades are so uniquely equipped to deal with a range of deadly scenarios that they stand alone in their category of resilience. They not only survive in environments that would quickly end the life of any other known organism, but they also thrive, demonstrating an unparalleled ability to withstand conditions that are beyond the imagination of most. This incredible capability to endure, whether it's exposure to extreme radiation, severe dehydration, or the vacuum and radiation of space, places tardigrades in a class by themselves. Their adventures in outer space are not just remarkable feats of survival. They're a testament to their extraordinary adaptability and resilience, making them the unsung heroes of the microscopic world. Hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, what's the coolest animal survival trick you know? Join us for more.